Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, uh, yeah. Yeah, it's your boy E-Man. Falcons Fandemic, we on that plan. All the hype in the city, let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown. Cruising down Peachtree in my Falcons gear. Pockets on the speakers, E-Man's here. Covering the news, all the buzz on the block. Fandemic family, yeah, we can't be stopped, yeah.
Oh man, let's try this again. Welcome back, Atlanta Falcons Fandemic Nation. Welcome back to Atlanta Falcons Fandemic Podcast. Guys, I don't know what was going on. I couldn't see your comments. Well, I could see your comments off on another screen, but I couldn't control what I could do on this end. Hopefully I got it figured out. So let's try this again. Hopefully everyone had a good day, ready for this hate week to get started. And guys, let me clear something up. You know, there are a lot of people that came at me with private messages about hate week. I mean, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's not a literal. There's no other way to explain it. It's not a literal hate, right? This is something. It's not sinister, but people have turned this thing into something personal. I've been a fan probably longer than a lot of you have been alive. But when fans and commentators talk about hate between two sports teams, it's almost never literally means genuine malice, right? Or ill will toward the other team's players, or even the supporters, or even fans, right? But the term, I mean, but it's almost like an hyperbole, right? An exaggeration that's been used to create an intense and passionate, uh, desire or dislike between two teams that are involved in a rivalry such as the one that we have with the Saints. But it's used to show a level of competitive, let's just say intensity. You know, when you look at the word hate in terms of rivalry, you know, and oftentimes it's because it develops because of something that's been going on for a long time, right? Or in our case, the geography of the two teams, the dramatic times of we've shared with the Saints. I mean, we've been a long time fan, not fans. God, that tasted ugly. But we've been a long time rival of the Saints since they came in a year after we did. We came in inception of what, 1966. They came in a year after, and both of us were placed in what we call the NFC. At the time, it was the NFC West division, and right after that, the NFC South formed when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and they considered other teams that were going to make up the NFC South. So with the Atlanta Falcons and the Saints being the first two teams that created the NFC South, of course, naturally, it was going to create a rival because we're going to both going to lay claim to who really owns the South, right? And so when you look at it in terms of passion, it reflects the fierce desire to win, right? There's no malice behind it. You know, when you look at it in terms of when you look at hate in the terms of stakes of what's involved, you're talking about the two history that these two teams have created, right? It almost feels like it's the most important thing of the season, no matter how bad the season is going or how well it's going, regardless of the league standings. And in our case, we're now facing quarterback debacle, coaching decisions, player personnel, and even injuries that are reeling from at both teams, right? But hate is usually the measure of the emotional investment that each and every fan of the Falcons, each and every fan of the Saints that has developed over the years. And in my case, I've been a fan since 1978. Like I said, I've been a fan since longer than a lot of you have been alive. But guys, I don't understand it, right? I can understand the you could probably feel ill will about how I used it. You know, we call it hate week, but it's not like I said, it's not a measure of malice, right? Is a genuine fanship dislike for the Saints. I mean, I have family members that are Saints fans. I have friends that are Saints fans, even have fellow content creators that are Saints fans. And there is no way I could form a dislike for any of them. You know what I mean? So it's just what it is. It's a hate week. It's a fan of, it's a term. Let's put it like this. Look at it as a term of endearment. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you can't take it no further than that. Shout out to the groups like the Rise Up Tour, who every year, without fail, take a buttload of fans and entourages, because that's basically what it is an entourage of fans. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 buses go down to New Orleans, and there is no means to go down there to start anything malice or along that line. They go down there, they form a couple of events at certain clubs. I mean, they are welcomed. Shout out to the individual fans who either fly down or drive down, make the drive to New Orleans to attend the games. Nobody will want to spend their hard-earned money, putting their lives on the line, basically, to make that drive down there, because these days driving on these roads have become treacherous. But shout out to all these fans that make that drive, these groups that make that drive, that take the time, spend their money, and go to these games. But the bottom line is, nobody go down to New Orleans or any venue for that matter to want to get into anything along the lines of malice. It's genuine fanship, guys. Don't make a word hate. Yes, it's a weighty word, but at the same time, you got to look at it in the terms of context that it was used, right? So, although I do welcome the comment, I do welcome the messages. Going forward, I don't know, probably use a different word. But at the same time, you do have to really look at your own mindset. If you took that as to mean that I meant anything along the lines of malice or hurtful to anybody physically, not even mentally, is not meant for that. That hate week has been used for better of 2 generations. So why get in your feelings now? Yes, we can get into the times where we go to these sports bars and we do talk trash. And in my instance, Taco Mac, and they welcome the crowd. They welcome the crowd. We talk trash. I talk trash every time I get to talking about any fan that I see in the street that we play against. I'm at my job. We have several Falcon fans. We do have several Falcon fans, but we do have Saints fans that do work there. I get into it just about every chance I can see with them. I see them, but it's nothing ill will. It's all in the matter of fanship. It's all in the matter of fun. So if you want to take that and escalate it to another level, as to mean something hatred or maliceful, that is on you. All right. Like I said, I do welcome the comment. I do welcome the message, but I just want to put that out there. But that is not what we're all about. All right. We do love the trash talk, but if you get offended by the trash talk, that's on you. And trash talk, it is what it is. Even when we trash talk, we are respectful when we do it. So guys, please change your mindset. This is not the time for it. Life is just too short to engage in anything like this for something that you misunderstood. All right. If I offended anyone, I do apologize, but at the same time, change your mindset. Those that know me know I do not come at you for nothing like that. You didn't come at me. You didn't come at my family. So I'm good with you. You good with me. Right. And that's what it's all about. So with that being said, guys, we're going to get into this discussion. We're going to talk about, and first, another thing I need to add to, I must apologize. I could not have my brothers from, speaking of hatred, but I could not get my brothers from Keep It Real Sports and Who Dat Nation to come on. the same guy does both platforms with a couple other guys, but uh, he couldn't come on today for, and that's the reason why the time got pushed back too. We literally just picked the wrong day to do it, and hopefully in the future I'll still be able to get him on, right? But we're gonna go on business and show as usual. You talking about like I said, Who Dat Nation? You talking about a guy that's stand up? There's no ill will towards him. He invited me to be a part of his platform. I graciously accepted. So there's no hate there. But guys, we're not going to concentrate on that. We're going to go ahead and talk about the heated rivalries that the Falcons and the Saints have built up. And we talk about the rivalry in NFL football, right? You talking about an old grudge, like the Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. You talk about the modern day matchup like between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens. And one of my favorite rivalries, and let's see, Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. And for you young heads out there, a rivalry was almost created, and it did happen for a short while between the Dallas Cowboys and the Falcons. And also with the San Francisco 49ers, both of these teams almost started a rivalry with us. Fulton County Stadium saw the best of games between the Falcons and the Cowboys, which brings me to my favorite game of all time when we faced the San Francisco 49ers. My first game, we won by a field goal, and that brought me in. It got my let's just say that game got my attention, right? And then there's the most hurtful rivalry game, and I'm still gonna say it's a rivalry because it stands deep with me, was the 1981 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, where we lost that game. We had the game won, right? We had that game won in the basket. And it came down to the Dallas Cowboys, got an interception, came down the field, and literally stole the game from us. So guys, but when it comes to the New Orleans Saints, guys, we're not talking about a simple divisional matchup. Guys, we're talking about Atlanta versus the New Orleans. We're talking about the Falcons versus the Saints. Now, although Tampa Bay and Carolina Panthers make up the division, this is a rivalry that was baked into the soul of the NFC South, right? You talk about the two teams that started this thing. Now, it's brother against brother, not literally, but, in figuratively speaking, it's brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend, not, like I said, not literally. And then you have the Dirty Birds versus the Who Dats. And for the record, forget the standings. Forget the records. This game on Sunday transcends all of that. When it comes down to these two teams, we no longer look at records. We no longer look at standings. It's all about what happens after that whistle blows, right? So you got decades of history that have been built up here, and it all stemmed from that 62-7 beatdown that we gave the Saints back in 73, and then we came in with another victory in 91, and all the way up through the Breeze Ryan era, where the Saints bounced back and started giving us all kind of havoc. Every single snap, it was that rivalry was getting built bigger and bigger, right? Now they can talk about a block punt all they want, and for those that are old enough to remember, that was the one game that the Saints, not talking about the games of recent, we're talking about the games of old that helped fuel this rivalry. But that block punt by Gleason, it kind of gave New Orleans life. They can have that. But when it comes down to who owns the South, who is the superior franchise, and who gets to spend the next 6 months, of course, right now we can't talk a whole lot. No, we're both in the same boat, right? But like I said, forget the record, forget the games played in the past. It all comes down to this Sunday when that whistle blows. and when their players hit the field. But guys, the game, to clear this up, let's put it like this. The Falcons Saint rivalry, regardless of what the media says, is one of the longest and one of the best rivalries in NFL history, regardless of what they say. But this isn't just a game, guys. This isn't just another Sunday. We're not fighting for playoff position. It didn't matter whether we was first, second, or third into the in the division. But this week, we're going to both teams are going to rewrite their narratives. Right? We're both in the same boat. We're both new coaches in. We're both with new quarterbacks. We're both with new offensive line, defensive lines. We're both really just both rebuilt teams coming into their house rather, to try to solidify bragging rights in this rivalry. Right? I mean, it's a very close rivalry. As a matter of fact, it's a little too close because it's all tied up right now. I think it's all tied up at 56 apiece. We're all tied up at 56 apiece, but it all comes down to who owns this rivalry. I'm going to go out there. We own this South. I'll be here. But it's either Rise Up or Who Dat. Even with Tampa Bay owning the division right now, Tampa Bay cannot look back at neither one of these teams, regardless of where our standings are right now. Because even with our records, both of us can come in and change the game, or shall I say their destination, whether they go in as a wild card or go in as a with the first week bye. We can actually change that for Tampa Bay. They can't look back and just say, okay, they've won the division, although they probably will. But my thing is, I like to talk history with these two franchises. Like I said, we came in a year apart. And up until the 2000s, like I said, we owned this division until Drew Brees joined the Saints with the Peyton, and they took this rivalry to a whole new level. But that game, the Falcons won that game 62-7, and it's still the Saints' largest margin of defeat. I mean, even to this day, it was a generational beatdown, and it, by a long shot, the longest deficit. So I say the biggest deficit of a loss by the Saints. They had a good game in 2006 where Steve Gleason, we blocked their punt and then opened the door again for the New Orleans Saints until right after Hurricane Katrina. And shout out to all those families that are still rebuilding from that. A lot of them are right now living in the same county where I live at. Right after it happened, our county grew tremendously, and it's because of Hurricane Katrina. A lot of them came to the state of Georgia and felt the hospitality and never left. A lot of them created a new homestead here. But shout out to those families that are still rebuilding. That are some that are still reeling from that effect. Almost a decade, or even it has been a decade later, and still trying to rebuild from that. And the ones that have lost families, I mean, it was tragic. But the Saints found a way to rebound from that, claiming a Super Bowl. So they're actually one up on us. They actually own the edge on this 56-56 series tie. So until we win the Super Bowl, guys, the Saints have all the edge in these bragging rights. That didn't even sound right coming out. I don't like that. But you have to acknowledge it.
Someone was detected at your front door.
Guys, the Saints, they're adversary. They are a great adversary. They are a great foe. I love talking Falcons Saints football. But the one play that got me as a fan, solidified this red and black on my back, and it's like I said, it transcended me as a fan. 1978, Steve Bartkowski, the Hail Mary, gorgeous moment. And the Saints were seconds away from getting that revenge on us. But like I said, the real from a 62-7 loss, they had to get back. But that game, they thought they had it. They even had a couple of fans. I don't know if you guys remember, had a couple of fans that ran down on the field and thought they had that game in the bag. You know, they had the lead. The win was well within their hands. But with 19 seconds left, this just goes to show you how close this game was. 19 seconds left. And as a fan, guys, I probably would have thought the same thing, that we had that game in the bag. But like I said, with 19 seconds left, quarterback Steve Bartkowski threw a desperate Hail Mary in the end zone. The ball was tipped. It looked like it was going to fall incomplete. And then Alfred Jackson, out of nowhere, for the game-winning touchdown, came around the pile that tipped the ball up and caught it. The play at that time was called the Big Ben Right. I don't know if that was was the name of that play before that game, or was it did that name become the name of that play after the catch? But either way it go, it was called a Big Ben Right, a soul-crushing miracle for the Saints. Almost felt like a curse, almost, but it cemented the idea that the Falcons always found the most painful way to break the New Orleans Saints' heart. But guys, I'm gonna Lane, welcome to the show, man. I'm giving a little few shout outs here. I think quite a few people have joined in. But give a as he says, as long as we beat the Aints, I'm good. I concur on that, brother. I don't care if we play in mud, sleet, rain, snow. I don't care where it is. We play them in the Fulton County Stadium, Georgia Dome, in New Orleans, or in a cornfield. As long as we beat them, I'm good. I don't care how it look. As long as by the end of the day, we can walk away with that W. Appreciate you joining me there, Lane. He also says that the hate is real. And you guys know what it is. It's a fanship hate. And like I said, I concur with him. But if you want to take it another way, I mean, it's on you. But thanks to everybody for joining in. Atlanta Falcons Fandemic, we're in the house. My main man, T. Will. What's going on, T. Will, my brother from another mother? This guy here, man, we came in the game about the same time, and we are enjoy each other's company. I enjoy his podcast. He also has a movie channel where he and maybe a special guest gets on and talk about his movies. The name of his podcast is For My ATL Sports One _ is it _ one or Sports One? Drop your login there. Will. ATL it's a mouthful, but For My ATL Sports One is where you can find T. Will talking about Braves, Hawks, Falcons, movies, food. I don't care what it is. He has a handful. All I do is talk Falcons, and I got my hands full with this one. This guy has about 6, 7, or 8 channels. I'm always thinking he's one of these guys just like to work all the time, or he just like staying busy. But yeah, I remember that game too vividly, man. I tell you, I watched that game. I don't remember who was watching it with me. It was so long ago, and I was a child at that time, but I felt the energy in the room shift when that game was on. And we didn't have these big screen TVs like we have now, right? But and there's the link for you guys. But we had the floor model TV with the record player on the top, and you talk about a game, that was worth watching. And you saw like I said, you felt the energy shift in the room where after that, when it came down to those 19 seconds, right? Everybody was no longer sitting down. Plates were put down. Cups were put down. People were standing up with their hands on their hips, hands in the air. And I mean, it was just different. It was just different, for that game. And that's when I knew then that it meant so much when the Falcons played the Saints. In the other game, it was just like, okay, we're playing the 49ers. We're playing the Bengals. We're playing the Cowboys. But when it came down to playing the Saints, and this is why I enjoyed trash talking, the hate week with Saints fans, because for the most part, a lot of these fans come back in with me. You know, they join that fandom. They know what it is to have that fanship hate against each other. There's no ill will towards it. And I mean, it's fun. Trash talking is fun, and and we keep it respectful, right? But and his other one is my ATL movies one. I do apologize for that, T. Will. And those are his two guys. And like I said, go subscribe to him. Go. You definitely will like the content. It's definitely funny. I mean, I listen to him when I'm getting dressed in the morning, getting dressed in the evening. Whenever I'm getting dressed doing something, or find the time to sit down and watch, I laugh. You can't do nothing but laugh. The guy's totally funny, guys. He and I are about the same age. We're about as young as they come. We're about the same age, so we share the same energy. We share the same views on a lot of things. But it's also very healthy to have a debate, and we can do that. At the same time, it's not like I said. It's nothing to have a difference of opinion, to have a great discussion. You learn a lot of things from each other when you do it that way, as opposed to holding any ill will. But guys, find T. Will for my ATL movies, for my ATL movies one. I do apologize, Will. And then for my ATL Sports one. And subscribe to him. Great content, guys. Great content. William Amos in the building. He says, "What's good? Radio, we will be fire after this year." He's talking about Radio Raheem. He's itching to have the Falcons turn this thing around, and he think it starts with Raheem Morris being out of the building. He calls him Radio Raheem, and everybody knows where that name's come from. If you're an old head like myself, you and Will, who knows where that name comes from, it is fitting. So shout out to Will. Appreciate you joining in, Will. T. Will comes at, bro, I was in our back bedroom about to cry because as soon as I was mad, and then Steve Arkowski threw that pass. I feel you, bro. And me, I didn't actually cry at that game. I was actually trying to take it in the awe of the room and how the energy shifted from everybody just sitting down to everybody just up in an uproar when that happened. And at that moment, I knew I wanted to be a big part of that. So the red jersey, well, at that time, the white jersey got put on. Or was it no, it was the red jersey they got put on. It was the William Andrews jersey. And I wish I had known at that time what it meant to hold on to Falcon memorabilia. Because now that jersey, of course, I will still be able to fit it. But I wish I could have held on to that jersey, right? But the game that broke my heart was when 1981, when the Cowboys came to town and took that national conference championship away from us. That was the game. I was 10 years old, and at that time I was still finding my way as a Falcon fan, and I literally broke down and cried because I wanted it so bad for the Falcons, especially to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Especially because I got so tired of hearing about them being the America's team. And I really wanted that game. I probably wanted that game more than the players did. At that time, like I said, I was just finding my way into as a Falcon fan, wearing my first jersey. At the time, I didn't have the money to do it, but I wanted to keep buying memorabilia. But that jersey was given to me, and I wish I had kept it. I don't know what happened to it this day. But yeah, T. Will said had cried big old crocodile tears. Yes, sir. I feel you. But guys, when you talk about games that meant a whole lot, right? This was just one of the many. That that started this rivalry. The rivalry got a new injection of feel when early into the 90s, right? When Jerry Glanville became the head coach. Now you start talking about talking trash. I think this is when the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints fan base. Of course, we was talking trash back then, right? But then it took on a new turn when Dion came to town, right? That too legit to quit mentality, and that gave us another new burst of energy. Our first. I'm going to take you back to the moment when Atlanta got that new hope, that hope of a championship, that hope of the win, is when we drafted Steve Bartkowski, the original golden boy of Atlanta. People may think, well, the Ric Flair was the original golden boy. No, sir. Steve Bartkowski was the original golden boy for Atlanta. And you talk about a roar, an uproar that happened during the draft when we grabbed him in the draft number 1. Atlanta went crazy. I mean, at the vibe in Atlanta just went. I mean, it just took another turn. And then we got Deion Sanders. And I'm gonna tell you how much of an impact Deion had on Atlanta, outside of the gleam, the prime time, the new song that came with him. Yeah, appreciate that, Will. He reminded me where we got him from. I was finna say Southern Cal, but I know that wasn't it. But yeah, he from Steve Bartkowski was from California, and he was definitely the golden boy. He was definitely the golden boy, and that's what it. And when he came to Atlanta, they actually marched him down the street with the hope of him being the being the guy that finally brings the Super Bowl, at least wins to Atlanta. But I'm thinking we were thinking bigger than that, right? Because he was that guy. But to Deion, you talk about a guy that brought a whole new energy to the Atlanta fan base. Because that before Deion, we became lackadaisy about our fanship, and we got criticized for that, right? But when Deion came to Atlanta, it was no turning back. Oh, Deion brought all the charisma. He brought all the vibe. He brought, before vibe even became a thing, he brought vibe to Atlanta. All the hype you could handle. And this was like on the onset of these one-hit wonders coming to the music scene too. So when Deion came, he came with his song. He came with the flair. He came with the nickname Prime Time. And I mean, when he, you really have to be there to understand how much of an impact that Deion was, right? And you talk about a clash against the Saints. I don't know if the Saints at the time underestimated Deion or didn't expect the same, ho-hum Falcons to enter the building. But when Deion came to Atlanta, I think that put everybody on their toes. Even our ownership. I when it comes to people's names, I don't like to regurgitate. Somebody else put the name in the channel. I mean, in the chat, I don't want to say their name because I really hated that ownership because they didn't really they wanted a team, but they only wanted a team and status. They didn't want to put money into the team. And that's a lot of reasons why we lost a lot of the good players that we had. I mean, nobody wanted to play for Atlanta at that point because Atlanta was not into the game of spending a lot of money to retain good players. So that didn't change until Arthur Blank. That's another story. But anyway, Deion was that guy that brought all the energy back to Atlanta into the fan base. You talking about Atlanta started to finally hit the divisional titles, the conference titles. I mean, contending for conference play. Deion was that guy that started all of that. He was that guy. And I'll tell you, after we got into our first divisional title, the song was there, Too Legit to Quit. We had the flair of a head coach. And Deion even had his offensive linemen wearing fur coats in the spring and summertime, going to clubs. That never happened in Atlanta. Well, it never happened for the Falcons anyway. Let's put it like that. But All of the guys, even the offensive linemen, it didn't matter who they were. They were wearing isotonal gloves, fur coats, big chains, Kangol hats. He brought all the energy and life back into Atlanta. Like T. Will said, Dion was him. Dion was Atlanta, you know, and you couldn't help but fall. Even if you weren't a fan of the Falcons, you couldn't help but follow Dion with the songs, with the flair, the flash. You couldn't help but, his dance in the end zone. You couldn't help but bite into the flair. He was must be the money. That was the song. That was one of them anyway. But like I said, he felt he had. You talking about a player buying into the culture or brought the culture. Dion was that guy. Dion was that guy. Then you had hey, what's going on, brother Wallace? A longtime fan, day one fan of Atlanta Falcons Fandemic. What's good with you, bro? We doing this thing like we always do. I appreciate you joining me here tonight on the podcast. And I appreciate that T. Will for throwing that in there. Y'all see the name of the former owners. And they treated this thing like it was an oil field, right? You dig, and you get what you can out of it. If not, you move on. I think it was more of a tax write-off with them, to be honest with you. I don't think their heart was in it. Like Arthur Blank, I think that it was just one of those things where they wanted to ride with the big guys. During that time, having a lot of money during the 80s, 90s, and which was a coming year. It paid to have a lot of money back then, and you get to rub shoulders with the big wigs, and that's what they did. They weren't good, at retaining talent. They kept everybody, and that's something that we have to get away from as the Falcons, right? If you got players even coming down on their rookie year contract, you got to treat it for what it's worth. A lot of guys, even through their rookie year contract, they haven't quite found their footing. They're still learning pretty much. 3 years, 4 years is a long time to establish yourself when you talk about quarterback. When you talk about player longevity in the NFL. However, a lot of these guys are still immature at that time. You talk about guys that just out of college that are basically still a child in some aspect. They're still growing men, that are coming in. But anyway, when you talk about the players that we had on that time during that time that actually played into these divisional wins, I'm going to say their name. You guys see the name on the screen. They weren't real keen on keeping players that were going to demand a lot of money. Although we won, a couple of division titles, the Saints won the first one. They won the first one back in 91, I think it was. Or was that the one we won? But either way, neither one of us were competing up until that time, like consistently competing. We didn't become media language until that time, right? And it all became because of Dion. We had the William Andrews, we had the Billy White Shoes Johnson with his dance, we had the Michael Haynes, we had several players that could have put Atlanta on the map, but we just had a team. But we didn't have an identity until Dion came. If you want to really and truly, we had, like I said, we had plenty of talent back in the day. But as a team identity, we really didn't have it until Dion got here. Now, we had the Grits Blitz would set the standards for defense back in, what was that year? 78, 79. Well, you guys know when the Grits Blitz was here. But they set the standard for the defenses where their record 77. Appreciate that, Will. They set the standard for defenses long before there was the I'm gonna say long before. At the same time, there was the steel curtain by the Steelers. You had the Orange Men down there in Florida with Miami. You had the unknown defense with the Dallas Cowboys. You had the Killer Bees with the Miami. They had several names. Then you had that defense with the Raiders. The Jets had a defense. Denver Broncos. I keep forgetting. I say the orange man was Florida. That was Denver Broncos, the orange man. But when it came to the Grits Blitz and what they did, that Grits Blitz defense got so much disrespect because to date, their record still stands. And to me, they have been the best defense, although it didn't last but 1 or 2 years. They were the standard of the defense back then. Jerry Glanville brought that defense and set the standard for the whole NFL. It got so bad it became an issue at the owners' meeting about what the Falcons were doing. I wouldn't be a bit surprised they called it illegal. It wouldn't have been. I mean, just like what they're doing to the Eagles today with that push tush or whatever they call that thing. And back then, it was you either stop it or shut up. There was no, voting to disband a play or saying that they're playing illegal or that wasn't fair. There was no such thing in the NFL back then. You either play football or you got ghosts. I mean, it was simple as that. Either you played or you didn't. Yeah, Dion did. He returned the punt for his first touch. And I think they underestimated Dion on that one. I think because nobody was during that time, nobody was returning punts for like touchdowns. At least it wasn't noted, or made a big to do of. But when he did it, when Dion did it, and the thing is, he did it consistently. And it wasn't the one of those one-time things that happened. Did it consistently. It was a big play, or it was a touchdown. Either way, when Dion touched the ball, people took note. People got back then. It was no cameras out, but but it's one of those things where you wanted to play over and over again. You wanted to see it for your own eyes, right? When it was time for Dion to field the ball or any opportunity for him to get the ball, people stood up and watched. And it wasn't just Falcon fans either. It was the media. It was people in the stands, people visiting fans, people from other games that were tuning in when Atlanta played and Dion was playing. People tuned in. But excuse me, guys. Might as well. He's shouting out to T. Will. He said, "Y'all make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. Pandemic is killing the great content. Appreciate that, brother Will. And guys, please join the chat. Join the chat. Let's talk this Falcons Saints football. But we're also going to be respectful about it. It's a true hate week, but not in a literal sense. But yeah, like Will said, go ahead and smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. We're gonna talk like this well into the off season too as well. So I got plenty of content. So we're gonna talk Falcon football. We're gonna keep talking Falcon football. Gonna have some guests on. I found out one of my fellow classmates. I ain't gonna say I found out. Well, I've been knew about it, but one of my classmates, kind of well, we graduated from the same school. He also does Falcon content. Didn't know he was even a Falcon fan until I think it was earlier this year. So yeah, I'm gonna have him on as well. At least try to get him on. He's one of these guys that they're going big. They're going big. Shout out to the Water Boys and be rich over there with the Water Boys and T over there. They're doing their thing over there, guys. They got a whole new setup going over there. So that shout out to them. Hope I can get them on as ASAP as soon as possible. Let's check out a couple more comments. They didn't care about winning. No, they didn't. I think all they wanted to do was smoke their cigars and drink their good whiskey, which is fine. I'm not knocking nobody's lifestyle, but when you have a franchise that relies on you, because back during that time they did everything. They were the general managers, they were the coaches. They are not the coaches, but they were the decision makers. They had a president, but it was in name only. That guy literally just stayed in the office. He had no input on what the Rankin Smith brothers did. I said their name, didn't I? Oh shoot! But anyway, they had no say so on what went on as far as football operation. That was all those Rankin Smith brothers, and it showed. Uh, but let's see, Gerald Riggs, of course, another player that the Saints hated playing against. You talk about a bruiser over running back. Another one that was underrated, along with William Andrews, who's yet to hit the Hall of Fame. William Andrews needs to be in there ASAP. I mean, I really think there needs to be a petition started to actually get this man into the Hall of Fame. Not only did he set records, he set it as a fullback. He was recruited as a fullback, turned running back, which I still don't see how he did it. But William Andrews was not a small guy. He was no William Perry by no means, but he was he was a bruiser of a running back, and he did all this as a fullback. He punished the league, but he's getting shortchanged for some reason. I don't know if that's just an Atlanta curse or what, but he deserves every bit of what the Hall of Fame has to offer for him, and I wish soon that he gets in there. T. Will talks about the New York Sack Exchange, another one of the defenses that went underrated. Who was that led that defense? Mark Gastineau. Oh my goodness, he was before his time. He and Lyle Alzado and those guys, man, I'm talking, they terrorized the league. We thought defensive ends today was good, was fast and hit hard. Defensive ends and edge rushers today, linebackers today, can stand up to none of Lyle Alzado and Mark Gastineau. It's a different game now, though. It's a totally different game. And you can argue the fact that the defensive ends and edge rushers of the day could not play back then. You can argue that same sentiment that Lyle Alzado and Mark Gastineau couldn't play in this game, and it's not because they couldn't do it as an athlete. They couldn't do it because of their mindset. But those two guys were vicious. They could care less whether you got hurt or not. If you got hurt, if they hurt you after they tackled you, they celebrated. Back then, it wasn't a penalty to do that. You probably get a penalty now for celebrating after hurting somebody, breaking somebody's leg. But back then, it was a celebration all to do if they hurt you, if you couldn't get up after they hit you. And then things changed once the what they call it, the Saints had their bounty put out there on the field. Things changed then. Back then, you up until then, you could hit somebody and celebrate, and hit the quarterback, that type of thing. Pick a player up and slam them like you're in the WWE. You can't do that these days. They softened the league up a little bit. And myself, my personal opinion, it takes away from the play of the game, it takes away from passion and the fun of the game. Being a former player myself, I did not like having to play on the offensive side of the ball. All I wanted to do was play defense. All I wanted to do was hit somebody. That's it. I didn't want to do nothing else. And I started my first time playing football. Let's put it like this: before I became a headhunter, let's put it like that. And I was talking trash to another guy, and I knew I had to change my mindset. And very vividly, I remember this play. Coach called it was like a sweep or something. And this guy that I was talking trash to was the pulling guard. Shout out to my boy Roy Williams. We're the best of friends today. But shout out to Roy Williams. And he was the pulling guard. And that play coming at me, and in my vision, I saw myself hitting Joe Butler. Shout out to Joe Butler, who was the running back at that time. I saw myself hitting Joe Butler. But for some reason, I became the hit E. Roy, he got the best of me on that one. Because I really didn't think he was coming at me. I thought he was like going, kind of just going through the motion of going past me. But I saw myself hitting Joe. And Joe was one of these running backs that was like a William Andrews type guys that his thigh was as big as your head. And I saw myself hitting Joe. But for some reason, when I got up, Roy was standing over me like, I told you I was going to get you. I told you I was going to get you. And back then that was football. But I had to change my mindset to playing the ball playing the strategy of the run the defense as opposed to being that one-on-one guy. But that was football. And shout out to Will. He shout out the Purple People Eaters. Excuse me. Yeah, Purple People Eaters. Another one of the all-time great defenses. Steel Curtain. Yeah, that's another one. Grits Blitz. You're right. This Grits Blitz could not be stopped. And that was one of those during one of those series where we ran off a 10-game win streak against the Saints. They couldn't do nothing with that Grits Blitz. Not a thing. No team could. But during that time, we ran off a 10-game win streak against the Saints. We owned the Saints at that time, and the Saints really had to wait until Drew Brees and Peyton, took over the team to actually start getting their consistent wins in. Up until that time, we were exchanging wins here, win there, and like I said, they got their get back when Drew Brees and Sean Payton came to town. Which show the signs of the change, right? And like T. Will said, Dion was must see TV. He was must see TV. You hated that it played that if a play came across the radio or the news and you saw Dion made a play, you could not help but really kick yourself in the tail for missing that play. And for you young fans out there, guys, we think that this defense here is one to watch. That Grits Blitz guy, I'm telling you, was way before its time. They were not giving up nothing. If I'm not mistaken, we weren't giving up like 9 points a game. I think it was 9 points. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like 9 points a game. That defense was way before its time. And there were some credible offenses out there. Because we were, at the time, the Steelers were still around. The Miami Dolphins were still around. The Denver Broncos, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers. And that defense did not get no credit for anything that they did outside of being that defense. Right? But back then, a lot of video footages, don't show about that Grits Blitz. I don't know why. We just didn't get a whole lot of respect. Even now, we don't. But the Grits Blitz was one of those things that set the tone for all defenses after that. You couldn't help but follow the Falcons after that. Whether you were the Saints fan, Falcon fan, or any other fan, you enjoyed watching the Grits Blitz orchestrate. But like I said, you had all the other defenses. The Steel Curtain, the People Eaters, the Orange Crush, the Killer Bees, the Unknown Defense, the Sack Exchange. All of them were unstoppable. But when it came down to the Grits Blitz, I can't talk enough about it, to be honest with you. I can't. But the Grits Blitz helped us control the NFC South when it came to, I'm gonna say it just came to the Saints, but to anybody. But the Saints could not find a win when it came to the Grits Blitz and Steve Bartkowski. Like I said, it was exchanging them. They were exchanging wins, but it was the margin of wins. Of course, we always played the Saints great. The Saints always play us great. It's always a close game. But during that era, that 10-game win streak that we had on them, the margin was just a little bit bigger. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it was one of the things that was very noticeable before Breeze and Peyton got here. Shout out to my man Big Low Country with the super chat. That's what I'm talking about. I don't have a cowbell with me, Big Low. I didn't think I was going to get one tonight. I do apologize for that. So I owe you a cowboy on my next one. The $5 super chat. He said, great content. I appreciate that, big brother. Y'all make sure you get over there to the Big Low Country Sports and subscribe. You talking about one of the pioneers of the game, one of the first shows that I was on. He invited me on. I invited myself on, and I logged on to his show, man, and you talk about. I think that show, my first show. I think that show with him was about 2 hours. It was me, him, and a couple of other content creators that were on that show. I want to say the other show, it wasn't Big Smitty. It was One Time for the Fan. He was on there that night. And I think we stayed on that show for about a good 2 hours. I was wondering, I'm like, man, is this normally how it's done? 2 hours? But I could talk all day. We could talk all day Falcon football. I'm telling you, we have to literally shut ourselves off when it comes to talking Falcon football. That's what it is over at Big Country Sports. And like I said, with all these content creators, Falcon content creators, I love talking Falcon football. They're very knowledgeable about it. A couple of times they'll point out some things. I'm like, wait a minute, where did I miss that? And like I said, I've been a fan since '78, so there's a lot of things I could talk about when it comes to Atlanta Falcons football. But a lot of times these young guys, they put something on you like, wait a minute, where did I miss that? Did I miss a generation? Did I miss a game or something? Did I miss a series? But shout out to Big Local Country and his content guy. Make sure you get over there and subscribe. It's great content over there. Like I said, we always have a ball. And I'm sure coming down into this Sunday game match up against the Saints, that there's going to be a whole lot more content coming from these content creators. Guys, make sure you stay tuned, because I'm telling you, if you miss out, you missed it. And like one of my other fellow content creators says, either get right or get left. And I point him out too when I get down to this section of the page too. But shout out to Big Low Country. Shout out to Big T Will for joining us. Shout out to the chat for keeping this chat lit. Guys, this is one of those discussions that we can talk Falcons Saints football all day, all night. But at some point, you got to cut it off and keep them eyes from coming at you. Like mine just peered through my curtain, looking at me like, you're going to stop and eat? Guys, I haven't stopped to eat yet, because I was gearing up for this channel, gearing up for this discussion. Guys, this is one of those things where once you get dialed in, you get dialed in. You have to shut yourself off, cut it off, and save it for another day. But guys, shout out, like I said, to Big Low Country Sports. Get over there and subscribe, and hit that like button. All right, but when you talk about moments of Falcons Saints, right? And I brought up that 10-game win streak from 95 to roughly like 99. And I think it may be the longest win streak against any opponent, I think. Or it might be the Saints' longest losing streak. I don't know if we've set the record yet for the longest losing streak. I don't think so. But that Falcons Saints losing streak, and when I say losing streak, I mean the Saints losing streak, because we whooping up on them. 95-96. But the pendulum right now, it can sway either way. It can go either way, because like I said, the series is tied up all 56-56. But at the same time, both teams are in almost the exact same position. So it's all about now who's going to fight for the pride. Is what we're fighting on. We're fighting for the edge on the series matchup and the remainder of the season. Both of them are on the scale right now, and neither team seems to have answers on what they want to do going into the future. I think the Saints, I think they're low on draft picks as well, just like we are. I could be wrong. Somebody remind me. I could be wrong, but I know we are. We don't have our first round draft pick anymore, so we have to take what we got left and either do one or two things. Either we can combine draft picks and move up and get a first round, or we can keep what we got and move back and build more draft picks for the future. I'd rather take it for what it is. We don't have a first round draft pick. We just use what we got and get what we can get. A lot of people put a lot of stake in the first round draft pick. I don't. I'm sorry. You never know what you're going to get. I mean, take a look. We got Grady Jarrett. We got him in the fifth round, sixth round, fifth round. We got Billy Bowman. We got him later in the late rounds. We got Nick Nash, who's not even playing right now. We got him on the practice squad, which I still think today he should be starting. We got Watts. We got him in later rounds. And both of these guys are starters for right now. And I'm talking about destined to be great in future defenses. Destined. So it's ways. That's why I'm trusting Terry Fontenot. Right. I know a lot of people are calling for his head too. That's why I'm trusting him. Because every move that he has made has us with the team that we have now. The only decision that has not come into fruition that could have us playing better was that head coaching hire. That's the only, at least I could be wrong. I don't know if he had any decision in on that. I don't think he did. But I think if he had chose his own head coach, we would look a lot better right now. Like I said, I'm trusting him. I'm trusting Terry Fontenot to do what he did. I did not wholeheartedly agree on all the decisions that he made. But when you look at the team as a whole, my goodness, it's one of those things where you can't help but trusting Terry Fontenot. Was every decision a great one? No. But when you look at the decision that he's made as a whole, what we have on the field today, and you talk about a team that can win now and far into the future, 2 and 3 years down the road, we still can be winning with this team. Well, will that equate to football? Would that equate to football? To divisional wins or Super Bowl wins? That remains to be seen. But we have a very young team to build on. You know how most teams, they draft a draft pick and they're building their team with just one draft pick. We're building around a whole draft picks from last season. We got 3 draft picks from last season that are actually starting. And they're not just starting. They're just not just filling a space. They're actually performing. They're doing what we want them to do on the defense. I'm looking for 2 Pro Bowlers, at least 2 Pro Bowlers off this Falcons defense. I mean, shout out to you, big countries. Thanks again for your comment. Always enjoy chilling out with your family. Hey, brother, it's always a pleasure, brother. Always. Can't wait to your next one. So I'm going to be on there too, wreaking havoc. So appreciate you joining me, brother. T. Will says, great show, Pandemic. Hey, man, you guys make the show. I can sit up here and talk all day with the blue screen, but you guys make the show. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Zach, my boy, when you talk Cowboy, when you talk about I'm going to say Cowboys fan, he's a friend of Cowboy. Let's put it like that. But you talking about a Saints fan, Saints content creator. So shout out to my boy Zachary Bell. He's another one of part of the family on Come On In Sports Network. Real part of the real fans of the Saints. Let's put it like that. Do me a favor, Zach, and drop your content name on in the chat for me so I can highlight it. Same thing for Real Fan Sports. That's where he at. Real Fan, what's good, brother? And who that? Hey man, I tell you what, I have a lot of fun with these guys, man. When I'm doing content with these guys, they keep me laughing, and we go at it. Oh, he and I and Dolph Jackson, we all go at it because, like I said, these guys are Saints fans that I'm on a platform with. So, and they give me now. We'll do our content right, but when I'm trying to get off, they would not let me get off without us talking trash. They're gonna try, kind of slick handedly start it up. Dolph is very good at it. Then once he gets it started, then everybody just starts in on me. So appreciate you joining me, Zach. Always a friend to the end, brother. Appreciate you joining in. Real Fan Sports, what's good, brother? And also, Who Dat? Who Dat Nation is in the building, guys. This is the reason why I say there's no hate, no mutual malice between the fan bases, because we all get together and we talk football, right? Genuine football. We talk genuine rivalry. This is never one of those things where you want ill-willed things to happen to a fellow competitor or a fellow fan. Right? It's all about the fandom. That's about what it is. But guys, log on over there to Real Fan Sports. Jump in, hit that subscribe button. If you're a Saints fan, you're gonna really enjoy it. If you're a Falcon fan, well, you're gonna really enjoy it because I have so much fun with these guys, man. I mean, I felt I felt it. Where I get that word from. I felt the genuine friendship from these guys from day one. They were ready for me to jump on board. I was ready to be on board. And they have a lot of great content over there. They don't do just Saints sports. So Zach, for one, does that gummit Zach. And he actually has me watching it now. Zach, what's the other sport? What's the other sport you do, Zach? With the it's slipping my brain. I'm brain farting right now, to be honest with you. But good gracious. And Zach does run Real Sports, by the way. Real Sports, Real Fan Sports. But anyway, he actually had me watching this sport, and I watch the news, I see the updates on the sport, but I didn't really watch cricket. Appreciate that. I mean, I can't understand why I couldn't think of that, but yeah, why I'm watching cricket now because of Zach. Like I said, you used to watch ESPN back in the day. You see it on ESPN, and it just throws over your shoulder. And you just wait until the sport that you watch gets highlighted, and then they start talking about cricket, and you're like, okay, that's enough for ESPN. But now I stick around to actually watch it. It's actually enlightening. And Zach gets real involved with cricket, guys. I mean, I wish I could get involved like that, but I just started watching it, and I'm sure the appreciation of cricket will come in. But shout out to Zach and Real Fan Sports. Guys, log on over there, jump over there and log in, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, guys, and show everybody your support. I appreciate you once again, Zach, coming in. Zach giving a shout out to Big Low. How you been, brother? I don't want to highlight it, but hey, Tom Brady 7 rings, 28-3. Hey, we gotta eat it though. I tell you that. We gotta eat it. It wasn't a good feeling, but hey, it happened. But shout out to Tom Brady and the 7 rings. But that's what it is. I mean, it wouldn't, at least it wasn't New England who beat us. I mean, if you know what that means. I mean, you know what it means. But Tom Brady, it was the Tom Brady Patriots. That was their name. I'm going to say this too before I go on. And I hear a lot of chatter about and this, of course, now this is just my personal opinion. I mean, you can grab it for what it's worth, but I hear a lot of people calling out the fact that we let go Bill Belichick, that we didn't hire him. Guys, Tom Brady made Bill Belichick. Before Tom Brady, Belichick was just like any other coach in football. Got a divisional win. He got his name up there, and now he's seeking a head job. He got one over just in time at New England. Lo and behold, they grabbed Tom Brady. And I'm going to tell you why it was Tom Brady Patriots and not Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was his second or third year in, and that big clash happened between Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and Josh McDaniel on the sideline. It was on national TV, and they got to a huge debate about a play call. And after that play call, Tom Brady got the green light to call whatever he wanted to do on the field. And at that time, he hadn't really solidified himself as being one of the greats. He was playing phenomenal football. But it was Tom Brady and his smarts that put New England on the map. How do you know this? Post Tom Brady. Post Tom Brady. And that's why Belichick had to leave New England. He couldn't put the wins back together. So when you guys talk about a great mind of coaching, he may have, but you still got to have a great player. So it wasn't all Bill Belichick. I don't think, and it's just my personal opinion, I don't think, now he may still have that old school mindset, but like I said earlier in the podcast, it's a totally new, different ball game nowadays. Most of these times now, you see guys that relate to their coaches. Most times now, you see them go to the sideline. The first thing you see a lot of them do is grab their cell phone. They don't even talk to each other anymore. Now you see very few instances where you see players huddle up and gather and talk to each other. They high five at each other. They don't do that anymore. It's a totally different ball game, and a lot of that stems from coaching. That's why I was really on board about Raheem Morris being that guy and thinking that he was going to be here and actually turn our franchise around. But hey, things didn't work out quite like I thought, obviously. But just and that, like I said, this thing about Bill Belichick, it's just my personal opinion on how I'm looking at it, how I see it. I just don't think that he would have been the guy that does it for us. Now, when you start talking about Harbaugh, I think he would have wholeheartedly got the job done. One, he was that guy that he was like Raheem Morris and Belichick in one. But he holds accountability. I think our big part is we don't hold enough accountability in this franchise. I think there are too many people making decisions that impact our total team outlook. Right? People talk about Rich McKay. Well, he has a new title, which kind of, and at that time, they trying to make it seem like with that title, he doesn't have any hands in on the coaching decisions. Now, do we really believe that's true? We know how these old guys get, and I'm going to say those old guys because I don't relate. I really don't relate. But when you talk about older guys relating to other people, older guys are going to relate more to people their age, closer to their age, as opposed to the younger generation. So when he came down to making decisions for the Falcons, and Arthur Blank was in on it, who you think he's going to really listen to the most? Terry Fontenot or McKay? He's going to relate to McKay. So if McKay says, "Hey, you should do this," Arthur Blank is really going to fall. He's going to sway that way more, right? And that's just my personal opinion. That's like a social thing when it comes to people interaction as far as age, in an age group, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, appreciate that Zach jumping in. He's doing cricket right now, actually. So he like I said, he has his hands full over there. He gets engaged in that thing, has all kind of energy in the world to keep the fans dialed in. Like I said, when I watched him and I had just got off of work, and I got off of work, I think I got in about 2:30 that morning, 3:00 that morning. He was on. I said, okay, let me go support my brother. Let me go to see what he's doing over there. I clicked on. I ended up watching his whole set, man. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to start watching some cricket games. And I mean, he got me dialed in. I mean, truthfully, I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but dial in. He said they got some good stuff on Amazon now, which is cool. It's not for everyone, but hey, we just like sports. True enough indeed. And shout out for that super chat for the real fans sports. That's a tongue twister there. $4.99 chat. I appreciate you, Zach, for joining in once again. Appreciate your support. Once again, guys, jump in the chat. Show your comments. Share your views. Let us know what you're thinking about with this Falcons Saints rivalry. It's always a nail biter between these two. You talk about a rivalry that goes way back. I mean, way back since the existence of both programs. And a lot of people, we have a lot of generations in here that are involved. It's included in this chat, but we have a lot of generations that of different ages that are involved with this rivalry, and a lot of them have remained true to the day. I mean, these guys, they don't back down. I don't know, but like I said, guys, jump over there to Come On In Sports Network. There's a lot of content with Falcons Saints rivalries. But these guys talk Saints football, but you can't talk Saints football without talking Falcons. Right? Let's get that one out there right now. And the same holds true. You can't talk Falcons football without talking Saints. The two games that you're going to mark on this calendar, that you're going to pay attention to, that you're going to not miss during the course of the season. You can say, well, okay, I'll go back and watch Carolina game. Or you may say, okay, I'll tune in to Tampa Bay's game. But when it comes down to the Saints-Falcons rivalry, you're going to take a day off work. You're going to get everything that you're supposed to do prior to that day, prior to that Sunday. Everything on the honey-do list, you're going to get that all out the way before Sunday. Because when Sunday comes and the Falcons and Saints are playing, you're not going to want nothing to interfere. You're going to turn the cell phone off, you know, and you're going to get your lemon pepper wings set. You're going to get your Coke, your Woodford Reserve. You're going to get all that stuff set onto the side because you're not going to want anything to interrupt that. And that's what it is. That's what this rivalry entails. Us tuning in to Falcons Saints football. He said, "Oh, that's a tough one. They made each other, but I'm getting another. Makes it look bad for Bill." Yeah, you're right. You're right. But everyone had their own opinion about that. Everyone had their own opinion about it. I just wasn't really set in on it. And if you look at where he is now, it seemed like it was a good decision. Although it is college ball, and coaching college is a whole lot different than coaching, professional sports. So I'm giving it what it is, right? And Dion, he said it best. He said it that it's a whole lot easier to motivate guys who are not making millions, if not millions of dollars. I mean, making millions of dollars a year or per game is a whole lot easier to motivate these college players than it would be to motivate these guys that are making millions of dollars per game. So although these college players are making that money now with the NIL deals, Dion wants to stay where he is. If he comes into the NFL, if Dion comes to the NFL, that situation has to be ideal. One, he's going to bring his son in as a quarterback. That deal has to be there. If not both of his sons. Now I know he's not going to want to interfere with their path, with his son's path into the NFL, or should I say during the NFL, if any of them decides to stay there. But Dion is going to want his team. He's going to want that general manager title. He's going to want that head coaching title. And I think when the Dallas Cowboys went to approach Dion about becoming the head coach, that's the reason why that didn't come into fruition. Dion want that general manager title as well. If he's going to be made to coach that team, he's going to be able to choose his own players. And best believe his son's going to be the quarterback. So that wasn't going to happen. Jerry Jones, well, you don't need to talk about that one. You don't need to talk about that one. Real Fan Sports says, again, I do hate that we are playing y'all under the arm this week. I'd rather play y'all at y'all's best week at this weekend, especially not having London. Yeah. But it is what it is. It's always that next man up mentality too, Zach. But I wish we could play 100 versus 100. You guys at you guys' best, us being at our best. But injuries are part of the game. And we can still talk trash. I mean, it is what it is, because now it's like replacements against replacements. I think that's a bad turn. Let's go. Now it could be next man up against next man up. I mean, both of us going to have replacement quarterbacks in. Oh, yeah, both of us going to have replacement quarterbacks in. Our offensive lines, both of ours are gutted. The defense is an experiment on both sides. I think we're missing some very key players on both sides. Very key players. I mean, you talk about guys that were like the bright spots of both defenses. So, we're missing those guys. It's gonna show. So, but yeah, I agree with you, man. I wish it could be under better circumstances. And the offensive side of the ball, I mean, we started out not being an experiment, but now that we have we're down to game down to players that were let go, players that are injured. The defensive scheme being suspect with Zach Robinson, his play calling. I mean, now it's like what you guys are going through. You don't have an identity anymore. So, and on top of the injuries, I think that, and this is going to sound bad, but I think, and this is just going into my projection too as well, I think that the only way that the Saints are going to be competitive in this game, I ain't going to say competitive, they just might downright beat us if Tyson Hill plays. Tyson Hill can come back with a bum ankle, and for some reason, he'll make all the difference in the world. He is our Achilles heel and have shown in the past. I mean, like I said, it sounds bad for me to say as a Falcon fan, but I call it like what it is. I love Tyson Hill as a player. The guy that you can call on that can do whatever you want him to do. Tight end, quarterback, running back, blocker, wide receiver, whatever you want him to do, he call on, and he performs at a top level, especially when he plays against us. He's always a deciding factor. Let's put it like that. They may not always win the game against us with Tyson, but he's always a deciding factor. And that's what I like about Tyson Hill, man. He's that athlete for the Saints. And then I forgot you guys running back, but my goodness, what is his name? I'm brain farting again, y'all. But he was always a factor, but he was controllable, right? Tyson Hill was always a factor, and we couldn't control him, especially when he plays tight end. And when he goes behind quarterback, man, I cringe. When he plays quarterback, I cringe because you never know what play you're going to get. You never know, and that sometimes makes all the difference in the world. He also says, taking my Saints brain out of it, I'm disappointed in the Falcons. They should be playing better, guys. And Zach, I tell you, every Falcon fan that's in this chat will utter what you just said. Will agree, will 100% agree with you. We should be playing better. Even with the next man up, we should be playing better. I don't think it's by the players' fault. Although we did have some drop balls by receivers, offensive line blunders that happened. But I do ultimately believe that all roads lead to Zach Robinson on, the play calling and the way we look offensively. Because even with our offensive line that has been gutted through and through, and I still think a couple of our guys that have come back are still playing hurt. I don't think they're 100%, but I still think it. And a lot of us have been coaches, have coached. Some of us. Some of us have coached, and we know there are ways to scheme around a lack of production on one side of the ball, right? It's ways to scheme around that, and it all comes down to the one thing that has hurt us all season, and that's been preparation, right? And like you said, Zach, we should be playing better. And it's going to sound ugly, but we shouldn't be in the same category with you guys because of where you guys have come from. You guys are in a total rebuild. You guys knew this coming in, right? But we're not a total rebuild. We're not. Although we have rebuilt, we're not totally rebuilt, right? And from what we had at the beginning of the season, the expectations coming in and some of the expectations that we have met, we definitely should be playing better. We definitely should be. So shout out to you, Zach, man. Like I said, 100% of these guys in the chat, Falcon fans, will agree with you. He said he was about to say vice versa. Regardless of how bad we are playing, this game matters. And it does. It does. It comes down to pride at this point, in my opinion. Is that will and want to win against an adversary such as the Saints. And it's more to it than just bragging rights. It's more to it than just bragging rights. Like I said, the series is tied 56 apiece. So when you look at the series being 56 apiece, it's like starting over 0-0. So as a Falcon fan, as a Falcon player, let's put it like that, you should want to come in and say, okay, we're going to start this thing off right. We're going to start this thing out with us at the helm, with us being the ones that turn this thing around. You should come in with that edge on your shoulder and want to play better than you've been playing. But like I said, it's all going to come down to what the heart says, or what the heart, or how their heart. Should I say, are they going to play with their hearts, or are they going to play with their mind, or have they already checked out? Right. Oh, but he says also again, and we could be both we could be both 0-15, and when we play each other, it matters. You're exactly right. Like I just said, it's all a matter how the players check in, uh, and and what they're willing to do. Because I mean, like I said, at this time, it's all a matter of pride. It's all a matter of pride. Where do you want to start? How are you going to solidify your name and say, "Hey, my legend started when we played the Saints that night." My name starts when we played the Saints that night or that evening. They got to check in on both sides of the ball. Even with the team, even with you guys' team, Zach, it's one of those things where you're hurting on both sides of the ball. You got injuries. It's time for me to solidify myself and gain a position, get a position. I'm going to start. I'm going to show you why I can start. And the same thing goes for the Falcons. The backup players got to show, hey, I'm the reason why you should start me. And that's what it all comes down to. Yes, everybody wants to say, it's easy to say, okay, we want to win. Or this game really matters to me. But are you willing to show it? Are you willing to go out there and give it your all? But they have to want to win. They have to want to win and get it in. And appreciate you, Zach, man. I appreciate you joining in. I appreciate the super chat, guys. Zach. He said, I got to get back to my screen, but catching up with you, brother. Hope you and your family are good and close out the Falcons. I utter the same sentiment, Zach. In love, brother. I appreciate you joining in. I appreciate it. He said, it's going to be all about the pressure for the Falcons. Make sure afraid and make mistakes. Make him hear footsteps. And that's the thing about the Saints. They have this rookie quarterback in Tyler Shaw, right? And he has been showing flashes, just like Michael Penix Jr., showing flashes of the more positive than negative than what he could become, right? And that's one thing that's going to scare me. He's going to become that guy that's like the guy that you didn't expect to see a whole lot of, but at the same time, come back to hurt you if you don't get that pressure on him. And our defense, I think the core of the defense is back outside of Divine Diablo. I think the core of the defense is back. So we really have to get the pressure on Tyler to let him show him like, hey, we're the Falcons. And the name that I have given our group is the Gridiron Gladiators. I didn't want to say Grits Blitz 2.0. Sound too cliche-ish. So they're the Gridiron Gladiators to me. Because they are much faster than the Grits Blitz, to be honest with you. So they have to get that pressure on Tyler Shaw and show him that, hey, brother, you can go test your best out on somebody else. Well, appreciate you, Zach, for joining in. It was good to have you on. I'll see you on the next show, brother. But guys, when you talk about rivalries, right? And if you remember everything from the overtime game where Matt Bryant defeated Garrett Hartley when it came a field goal battle. You remember that game? All the other games that we played in 48 of those 56 games, right? Like I said, the series is tied up 56 apiece. 48 of those games were decided by 7 points or less. That makes this, I mean, you can't ask for a more evenly matched historical feud between two teams. It's always personal, and the players absolutely feed off that energy. Roddy Wright versus the Saints secondary. Matt Ryan versus Drew Brees for a decade. Genuine animosity. The intensity is what makes the rivalry one of the top 5 rivalries in NFL history, even though the national media doesn't always want to recognize these two teams from the South. Now, when you talk about the Saints and talk about the Falcons, you talk about the rest of the league, I'm not going to say they cringe, but they have to put a question mark in that win-loss column because you never know which team is going to show up. The Falcons are always geared up to play play good football if they're being led right. But we have to be led. And Raheem Morris have to get it in that he has to lead this team. against the Saints to continue this great rivalry between these two. Look, our teams are forever linked by geography, linked by being the two teams in the South that's geared to own the South, claim the South. We have a mutual, profound dislike for each other, and I mean that in the most gracious way. And ultimately, that hate is what keeps both of our teams on our toes. Guys, I appreciate you guys joining in tonight for this podcast. Although it was sidelined by some distractions that hopefully will be corrected in the future. I appreciate you so much. You kept me going all night long. I appreciate the 2 super chats. Zach from Real Fan Sports, Big Low Country. I appreciate the support, brother, as always. I look forward to being back on your show. And guys, this is one of those things, guys, where the fans make up what we do out here day in and day out, right? And guys, this is one of those things where you appreciate the chat. It keeps you going. It keeps you livid. Let's put it like that. Sometimes, because some of the opinions shared in the thing in the chat, guys, it don't necessarily agree with you, but at the same time, you like the content, right? You like the involvement, you like the engagement, and that's what it's all about, guys. We're Falcon fans, we're Saints fans, and we enjoy this rivalry. We will continue to enjoy this rivalry, and it's one of those things, guys, that as long as we're respectful, guys, it can be as much fun as it can be. But until then, guys, I won't make that trip to New Orleans this year. And haven't made it in a couple of years. I need to start going back. But it's one of those things that we can always enjoy this rivalry in any place, whether it be in the sports bars, at home, in person, in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, with each other. It's just a great, wholesome rivalry that, just like our fan base, don't get any respect. So, guys, until then, to the next podcast, guys, to the next show, to the next video, guys, I appreciate you all in the chat. Appreciate you all for joining in. Please don't forget to hop on over to Atlanta Falcons Fandemic. Hit that subscribe button. Hop over there to Big Low Country. Hit that subscribe button. Hop over there to Real Fan Sports. Hit that subscribe button. Hop over there to For My ATL Movies. I got it right that time, T Will. For My ATL Movies. Hit that subscribe button. For My ATL Sports. Sports One. Hit that subscribe button, guys. It's a lot of great content out there with that Falcon base. So once again, guys, I appreciate you all support and look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your boy E-Man. Falcons Fandemic, we on that plan. All the hype in the city, let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown.